Now neutrophils, they're named because of how they appear under those like H&E stain and another type of like staining in those blood smears. But neutrophils, again, back all the way to exam 1, when we talk about the different types of leukocytes, which is the most abundant type of leukocyte. And do we have time? Oh yeah, we have lots of time. Okay, who remembers this? Which is the most numerous? And there was a mnemonic I did cover. So the most abundant type of leukocyte is... Remember this mnemonic? Yeah, neutrophils. So neutrophils are the most abundant type of leukocyte. And is it a coincidence? Why don't we have all the same amount? Like, why don't we have 20% of each? So the interesting thing is that your body cranks out neutrophils like crazy. It's like neutrophils are cheap, and they're like just producing in mass amounts. Now, what they can do is many things. One of the things they can do is degranulation. So neutrophils have all these granules, and they contain all these chemicals that are toxic to microbes. So many of these chemicals include things like defensins, which we covered earlier, and also enzymes that produce now reactive oxygen species. I don't think if you think we would have time to talk about reactive oxygen species, but you might have heard the term free radicals. And if you've had chemistry, you know that if you've done like Lewis dot structures, you know that electrons, they don't like being alone. They like coming in pairs. So the free radicals, these reactive oxygen species can actually make a lot of free radicals that attack the rip-off electrons from microbes and cause damage to their chemical structure. Also enzymes that degrade extracellular matrices like collagenases and also proteases as well. But the thing is that you have collagen that your body naturally produces. So this is why when these neutrophils, they degranulate and release these chemicals, it's also pretty caustic to the normal cells in your tissues as well. And again, this is part of the reason why whenever you have an immune response, well, you also have a lot of pain that's associated with that immune response. Now, neutrophil functions, degranulation, releasing those chemicals, but they're also phagocytic, so they can also engulf pathogens and get rid of them that way. They also send out chemical signals, so things like we call cytokines, chemokines, and other factors. Neutrophils can secrete these chemical signals that recruit and bring other immune cells. That's why I use that endgame analogy with all the portals. Neutrophils are the ones sending out the signals that bring out all these other backups. And they also can form web-like fibrous nets. So this is a clever acronym the people who discovered this use. Neutrophil extracellular traps. So what are these nets? Well, here we have neutrophil, so neutrophil being surrounded by all these bacteria. And what they can do when they're activated, they can send out all these little protein fibrils that snare up all these pathogen and all these microbes as well. So I like to think of it this way. Remember how I said, remember that neutrophils are very abundant, right? And I probably will have to cut this out because I want to make the mouse mad. But if you've watched Guardians of the Galaxy, so remember that we have all these defense forces in this scene, but what's happening here? Like, a lot of them are lots of these little ships trying to defend, a lot of them are dying in the process, but what is a net? So we have this huge invasion, this huge pathogen coming in, so these neutrophils are trying to make these are like little neutrophils, trying to make a physical barrier. So yeah, that's what a net works like. You have all these neutrophils, they're sending out these protein fibers that help try to form a physical barrier that impedes pathogen from invading. So what is the most abundant type of leukocyte? Neutrophils. You have a lot of them, and they try to form, they're the first responders, and there are a lot of them. This is why you make a lot of neutrophils. Now the thing is that neutrophils also attack in mass numbers, because this is yet another reason for why they're the most abundant type of leukocytes. So again, why do you have mass numbers? Well, your neutrophils pretend this is a pathogen, your neutrophils are just trying to mob and swarm this invading pathogen and prevent it from infecting. And if you played games and seen all these like very cheap units and very expendable units, you know what this is called, right? So again, the thing is that, or if you like Star Wars, like I know I'm not as crazy of a fan. I mean, I enjoyed the movies, but I'm not like my friends who post Baby Yoda memes all the time. But stormtroopers, remember like in the Star Wars movies, they're always, if there's mass numbers, they don't have names, or wait, maybe Finn was a stormtrooper. But again, you have all of these expendable troops, and they get shot by all the lasers, and they all like they just send mass swarms of these. This is why, another reason why you have a lot of neutrophils, because they're producing mass numbers, they're first responders, but they die pretty easily. So this is why you crank up a lot of them in your body. Now, neutrophils, again, if you've, in that previous example, remember what this is? If you've played StarCraft, you know what this is. So this is what neutrophils are like. So if these are pathogens, neutrophils like to swarm the pathogens. They have all these attacks that include chemical, engulfing, sending out all these nets. So neutrophils are pretty much there to kind of bum rush and swarm all the pathogens that can invade your body. So yeah, this is what happens with neutrophils. Now, remember, neutrophils are abundant. They help defend your body, but a lot of them die in the process. So whenever you have something like this, well, this person, definitely has an infection here. But what's all this nasty stuff over here? Well, this is pus, and it's from this type of nail infection we see here, paronychia. But a lot of this pus is many things, a lot of fluid, but a lot of neutrophils and dead white blood cells make up pus. So this is why it has that kind of creamy, off yellow, whitish color, because of all the dead cells that died during the battle against whatever pathogens were causing this infection.